Hey guys, JoJo here in the Woman Cave, about to go over the Captain Marvel movie with you all. But before we get started, I did want to forewarn everybody that I do spoilers. So if you haven't watched it and you don't want to get spoiled, get out of here. Sorry to boot you out, but you know, it is what it is. I like just talking off the cuff and not having to worry about spoilers at all. So overall, I did want to just say that I do enjoy the movie. I do have some gripes though. Not anything major, like it's nothing that's gonna, you know, keep me up at night. If you're a Marvel fan, you should watch it. It's definitely worth the watch. I guess we can start off with the good things and go into the bad things. So the good things I did like included just the music overall. I did love the score. I noticed it, and usually with Marvel movies I don't really notice it too much until like after. So I don't know, it's just weird. It happened to me with Avengers. Like I didn't really care for the score until like a couple years later when I actually sat down and listened to it. And yeah, anyways, that's a side note. Music tracks that they picked were very 90s, so obviously I did love it because I grew up in the 90s, so definitely liked that about it. I did have a problem with when they chose to play those songs, like when the I'm Just a Girl by No Doubt came on during the fight sequence. I thought that was just straight up pandering. Honestly, I love that song, guys. I'm a huge No Doubt fan. But it just seemed a little too on the nose type of thing. Just don't really need that. And yeah, I did like the songs though. The songs were cool. Another thing I really liked about the movie was the relationship between Carol Danvers and Fury. It was a little rocky at first for me, but then as the movie progressed, I really started enjoying it more and more. It kind of grew on me. So yeah, definitely cool. Something else that was amazing regarding those two was the cat. What's his name again? I can't remember his name, so I'm just gonna keep on going here. But yeah, the cat was hilarious. All the scenes involving him, I was just like laughing my butt off. But that didn't come till later. A lot of the jokes in the beginning of the movie, like the first half of it, just weren't landing for me. And I'm not sure if that's because Brie Larson's acting wasn't so great. She kind of grew into the character as the movie progressed, and I could see that. I noticed it. So I did start warming up to her as Captain Marvel, but I think the tones were everywhere, and that was kind of affecting the way that you kind of see her as a person and as a character. I mean, when the tone's that jumpy, you don't know how to gauge her. So, you know, one moment she's trying to be really badass and just like the cool girl, the cool, you know, kind of tomboy type of girl. And like, that's all fine and everything, but then you infuse this like random humor here and there, and it's okay, but it seemed a little forced. Like, it's not terrible that they do that, because I know it's comic relief and that's fine, but there were times when it was overdone and the jokes weren't even funny. So, but yeah, I think in the first half there were a lot of issues in terms of deciding what kind of superhero she was, you know? I think that Brie Larson was miscast. I don't think she was the best person for this role. Like I said, I warmed up to her later on, but it was really tough. It was really tough to believe that she was that powerful, to believe that she was that much of a badass. And it's just in her demeanor, she didn't really own the room like I feel she should have. She had a little snarky attitude, but at the end of the day, it just felt like a girl who was trying too hard to be badass. I just wasn't believing it fully, and I don't know, maybe it is because of her short, small, you know, stature. She didn't look very muscular, and I think even though people will say, oh, you don't have to be, you know, big to have superpowers. Yes, true, but it definitely helps the audience believe that this person can beat some ass. Like, it doesn't hurt either. So I guess I would have liked to have seen somebody a little bit more built and a little bit more athletic looking to play the role. Another awesome thing was the CGI though. The CGI was amazing, looked flawless and beautiful, so beautiful. All these scenes look so crisp, especially like the action sequences. Oh my god, all the space stuff. Wow, that was like breathtaking, and I loved just watching it. I saw it in 3D. Amazing. I highly recommend you guys watching it in 3D if you haven't. So cool. Okay guys, so let's get into my main gripe. My main gripe is that Disney doesn't take enough risks. That is my main gripe, and let me get into it. So, if you're gonna watch this movie just for, you know, the action, the fun of it, the entertainment sake, then you're probably not gonna understand this next part coming up. You probably didn't even read into it at all. But as a moviegoer, I tend to analyze movies and the scenes, as that's what I studied in college, so I'm kind of trained to do that, right? So in doing so, I definitely picked up some implications. You can say I was picking up what Disney was putting down, and by that I mean that I think they were trying to make Captain Marvel a lesbian, but didn't want to come out and say it. Let's talk about her good friend, okay? Her good friend Maria Rambeau. Like, here we have two, probably ladies in their 20s, right? Probably in their 20s, when they were friends. They were in the Air Force, and, you know, they were pretty butch, kind of tomboy, right? Both of them were. I would say Maria was a little bit more, which is fine and dandy, but why go through all the trouble of establishing and explaining their relationship to us in different scenes? Like, you know, you get the flashbacks. That's one. You get, you know, the little girl calling her auntie, which, okay, there you establish again that they're, you know, she was close to them, very close to them. The little girl brings out a box of all her pictures. And this is where it gets a little bit suggestive, I think. All her pictures of when she was growing up, and of her and Monica together having fun. And it was just them two. Never did you see a picture of, you know, maybe a significant other and her, or maybe Maria's significant other or her baby daddy. You don't see one picture. It's just of Carol kind of growing up, and you see one of her dad. And then on top of that, they suggest that, or they say that, you know, Carol didn't have such a great relationship with her father or her family. Why is that? Like, why did they have to, like, plant the seed like that? Like, it kind of makes you question it. Like, well, okay, what happened? Why was she not close to her family? Because, I mean, let's be real, those flashbacks weren't enough to really villainize the father. I mean, he was just honestly being a parent, right? Yelling at their kid, like, why'd you do that? When she crashed her little go-kart or whatever it was. It's like, it makes me curious, that's all. It definitely gets me thinking. And, I mean, a possible theory is, what if she is a lesbian and she came out and the family doesn't like it, you know? And, okay, let's go back to this little box of photos, right? I think it's odd that they had the photos to begin with. Like, I'm trying to think if one of my good friends, like, had passed or something. Would I have their photos of their childhood? Probably not, right? It just makes you question, well, how close were they if, you know, she has all of her photos in a box of them two having fun and of her childhood? Like, I don't know. That's something a significant other would do, right? Is to have those pictures. Next indicator was the hug between Carol and Maria. That hug was very long. Let's just put it that way. And the look that they give each other, I was like, What was funny was, you know, I was kind of reading into all this stuff, and actually the first scene when Carol and Maria are, they sit down at the kitchen table and they're, you know, Carol wants to kind of talk to her alone. Again, that's kind of odd. Like, why does it have to be that personal? Why, you know, again, something you would do with a significant other, like to talk in private, it's very intimate. And it was that scene that I was like, oh wow, you know, Bree's chemistry with this girl is definitely better than any other chemistry I've seen in this movie. I just thought it was funny that that was the scene that made me see, like, wow, okay, this is realistic, you know, this is some good chemistry here, this is some good dialogue between the two. And then I just put all the other stuff together and I was like, wait a minute, two tomboys, BFFs, in the Air Force in the 90s, and you're telling me they had no love interests that were guys? And that are as pretty as they are? Like, come on. Come on. I'm sorry, but you're surrounded by guys and you don't have a significant other. At least you'd be kind of dating, right? Like, I don't know. You could definitely read it how you want. But that's how I choose to read it. I mean, I see all the signs. I know what's up. And yeah, I just feel like Disney should have just said it out loud. Like, why imply things and why keep it, you know, on the down low? Why make it so that it has to be interpreted? Like, why not just make her a lesbian character? You know, if you're gonna go into this whole diversity thing, like, you might as well go all in, right? I'm up for the diversity of it. Like, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But be open about it. Just say it, you know? So that was my main gripe. And it kind of brings me back to The Last Jedi and how they did not want to take risks in that movie either. So yeah, Disney, come on. Come on. Do your fans a favor and take some risks. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.